Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA continued its upward momentum today as well, and this is in line with my yesterday expectation. In this video, let's discuss how NVIDIA can behave rest of the week using technical charts and data analysis. Let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 118.53. It made a high 118.60. It made a low 114.07 and it closed at 118.01. That is 1.61% up. The CPI data that came this morning played a major role for the stock market to go up. So it's not just Nvidia. The overall market went up today. Let's take a look at S&P. S&P is up 0.38%. Nasdaq is up 0.029%. And Dow Jones is up 0.61%. So let's take a look what happened with the CPI data this morning. As you see on your screen, the actuals came 2.9% versus the forecast 3%. And that is a very good news for the market. But that tells that inflation continues to go down. And that will make a case for Fed to start cutting the rates from September. Let's take a look core CPI. The core CPI came 3.2% versus the forecast 3.2%. But the good thing is the inflation went down from last month. Last month was 3.3%. So now overall market is expecting that Fed would start cutting the rates from September. And the probability is high. But if Fed or Mr. Powell gives negative comments or shows uncertainty about rate cuts in the next FOMC meeting, then probably market would go down after that, you know. So today's upward movement was due to the expectation that after CPI data came lower than the forecast, then there is no reason that Fed won't cut the rates from September. Now, moving on, last 5 days, Nvidia up 15.76%. You see that Nvidia recovered about 15% in just 5 days. So, as I mentioned in my last week videos and also probably before last week, that the slowdown or the drop we experienced, I was of opinion that it's a temporary slowdown and that was just a correction and it was not a trend reversal or the bearish territory. But many analysts were talking about recession is coming and we should expect more drop coming in. Probably some people were saying that, Nvidia should touch about 70 or 60, but I never agreed to their analysis. Time to time, I shared with you my opinions in my videos. And last 1 month, Nvidia is down 8.07%. In last 6 months, Nvidia is still up 59%. And one of the reasons I was upset last week, not because Nvidia was down, but because I did not save enough cash to buy Nvidia when Nvidia was down below 100. So that was my regret. Now, let's take a look forward P for Nvidia and other AI stocks. So forward P for Nvidia at this point is 41.23, slightly higher than yesterday and also much higher than the last week closing. And still I think is below last 7 weeks of average. Let's take a look. So last 7 weeks is 42.53, slightly lower than last 7 weeks of average at this point. Palantir 91.18, slightly higher than the last week closing. SMCI 18.16. So SMCI is also having a good time in last few days. AMD is 39.32, slightly higher than the last week closing. And for SMCI also, if you remember, I shared with you my opinion last week or even before last week when SMCI was going down. I gave you my minimum level that was 464. Let's take a look one more time. So you see on your screen, I shared with you this file last week and also before last week. My minimum level was 464 and SMCI did not go below 464. It came down to 480 but did not go below 464. So my prediction about SMCI was also correct, and that is the reason why I did not sell my SMCI stock. I'm still in loss on SMCI, but I think that before next earnings, SMCI should again touch 800. Now let's take a look historical data analysis for Nvidia. Nvidia at this point is about 26% up from the last earnings announcement. So as you notice, it continues to go up since past few days. You see that? And that's a good sign. And if you remember, last quarter Nvidia was up about 38% before the next announcement. So from 22nd February through 22nd May, Nvidia was up about 38%. In this quarter, if Nvidia follows the same trend, then Nvidia should go about 10% more before next earnings. And that is probably 2 weeks from now. Now, let's take a look technical charts. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia and also MACD chart. MACD line at this point after touching this high started going down. So at this point in the middle. So tomorrow, based on MACD, market can go in either direction. But since Nvidia has been going up since past few days non-stop, so I have the feeling that maybe tomorrow a little drop can happen on Nvidia. But overall, the positive momentum is still there with Nvidia because MACD is still above zero line. Okay, now let's take a look Bollinger Bands. Based on the Bollinger Bands, as we talked yesterday and day before yesterday, that the gap between upper band and the lower band was increasing, and that was an indication that the positive momentum is still there with Nvidia, and there was a chance that Nvidia should go further up, and that's what happened yesterday and day before yesterday. At this point, you see the gap between upper and the lower band is going down, is shrinking. So that suggests some consolidation or some sideways movement we can expect tomorrow. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen. I selected 140.56 at the highest point and 75.96 at the lowest point, similar to the one we did yesterday. At this point, Nvidia is around 117. It's above 115 level. The next level of resistance is at 125. And I said yesterday that it will be interesting to see Nvidia can break 125 before the earnings or not. In my opinion, the economic data looks positive for Nvidia and overall market. If no other news or unpredictable event happens in next few days, then it's quite possible that Nvidia might touch 125 in next 2 weeks before the earnings. Because tomorrow there is one data that is initial jobless claim, and on Friday nothing much coming up. Let's take a look. As we noted last week, the jobless claims went down, and that was not a good news for the market. So market reacted negatively last week after the jobless claims data. But Friday, nothing much happening. Next week on Wednesday, we have the minutes of FOMC meeting, and that's important. So next few days after initial jobless claim, no big data coming. So if initial jobless claims does not come lower than the forecast, that will be a good news for overall market, and that should also give positive energy to Nvidia and other AI stocks. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. Starting with this one that says Nvidia stock edges up, market concerns about hefty AI spending are easing. So basically, they are trying to say that the concerns in the market regarding Nvidia spending is going down, and that should be helping Nvidia shares to go up. And that's what's happening. It's not a surprise for me because you remember last week I already mentioned that the reaction from the market is temporary and this negative momentum should go away very soon. So now they are talking about semiconductor stocks show signs of life. Why recent losses were a good thing? Yes, that was good because that gave Nvidia and other AI stocks an opportunity to do some correction before making another all-time high. Now this one that says Nvidia position building ahead of earnings, CPI dampens super bullish stock market hopium. But based on their understanding, market should have been more bullish. Let's take a look this one that says what's going on with Taiwan Semiconductor stock on Wednesday. Let's open it. It says that Taiwan Semiconductor Board of Directors has approved capital appropriation totaling 29.62 billion. Probably that was the reason why Taiwan is under pressure today and probably yesterday as well. Let's take a look. So TSMC was down probably about 1.4% and after hours also down. So now this one that talks about NVIDIA Blackwell GPU launch delay is manageable based on DigiTimes. So let's open it. So it says that the design with complexity and is expected to be postponed by 1 quarter until the first quarter of 2025. Supply chain sources maintain that this delay is manageable. So that's good if supply chain folks are confident that 1 quarter delay is manageable and they can still manage the supply if that happens. That should not be a big impact on Nvidia. But we'll have to see if they mention this delay in the earnings call or not. But if the future impact is big, probably they will mention in the earnings call. I guess those were only important news regarding Nvidia. Let's take a look other AI stocks. So at this point, you see most of the AI stocks are positive today, even if AMD, SoundHound, and Amazon are negative today, but they're not too much negative. I guess that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for today and rest of the week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.